Bulldog Hanover, the Bulldog does it again. Bulldog Hanover, Rocky Road Hanover, and then Tattoo Artist. It's Bulldog Hanover, 1:45 and 4. There it is, the fastest mile in harness racing history.
Hello, it's Bob Pandolfo. It's Monday, August 11th, 2025. Welcome to Power Brush with Pandy. Going to talk a little bit about handicapping the Meadowlands. Now, some of you may know that my selections are for free on the United States Trotting Association website. In fact, I'll show you how to get there. So if you go to yourstrotting.com, click on handicapping, and then you can see this Pandycapping. Click on that, and there's my selections. You click on free Meadowlands selections, and then you have all the different days with my selections, and there's also pick 4 selections. So you have your choice of the the complete picks or my picks in the early pick 4. So somebody was asking me, can you do a video on how you handicap the Meadowlands? Now, I've written a lot of articles about handicapping over the years. Hundreds and hundreds of them actually for Sports Eye, which eventually became DRF Harness, Daily Racing Form Harness. So I've talked about pace and trips and speed, and all those things are factors. But I do use class a lot, especially when it comes to my best bets. And I'm always looking at a race and trying to decide if I think a horse has not only an advantage with current form, but also if he's got a little bit of a class edge, like if he's in the right class, if he's in a winning class. Class does matter. There's no question about it. Now, here's my picks from now. I'm not going to take one of my big nights. I had a number of really big nights this year. I had 10 winners on top one night, the Meadowlands, and I had like a $46 horse that night. I had 9 winners on top of the night. So I had a lot of really good nights. I had 8 winners on top at least once, maybe twice. But I'm just going to pick some horses from this past weekend. And I had, 2 decent nights, Friday and Saturday, nothing to brag about. But my picks were okay. But I just wanted to look over a couple of picks here. So Friday night, my best bet was in the 14th race, Almost Karen. Right? Almost Karen raced gamely on the lead from post 8, drops, moves inside, gets a key driver change. So let's look at Almost Karen. Now, one of the first things that I look for, I always start out looking at the class. So this is Affiliate Mare Trackmaster rating 71. So that's the condition. The class rating on the Trackmaster past performances for this race is a 73. All right. So if you look at Almost Karen, she been racing in the 74.5s. That's a class level higher. When she was in 71, which is this class, you could see she won pretty easily. She left and she got the pocket and then pulled the pocket. So this was a nice move. She didn't just sit in until late in the stretch. She actually pulled the challenge, and she beat pretty much the horse that she has to beat here. I think I put Pull Me Through second. And then you could see that when she was at this level, she beat Pull Me Through. Then there's a 6 scratch there, and then she came back in the better class and she finished second. That was a good race. And then she finished second again. And these were both from post 8. In this last start, she went to the lead and set the pace with driver Steve Smith. She was 39-1. Now she's picking up Daniel Dubé, who is coming in from New York to drive. And he's been in business a long time. He's a very successful catch driver throughout his whole career. So I thought this was an upgrade in driver change. Plus you get that key drop, and she's getting a better post. And I always like that outside in. You go from an outside post to an inside post. She's versatile, as you can see, because she can win. She can leave and win, and she can close. Here she went first over and she won. Here she went wire to wire, she won. And you could see that, she has a couple of wins at this 71 level. Now, the horse I put second, Pull Me Through, does have a win at the 71 level too. But this last race from Post 8, was a tough, fairly tough trip. She was used pretty hard to get the lead, so I thought that was an advantage too. And the thing that put me over the top was the driver changed to 2 so I made her best bet. And the odds, were in my favor because they bet down, pull me through to the favorite. Probably because she was picking up Beckwith, who's the leading driver this year at the Meadowlands. But Almost Karen went easily. Made 2 moves to the lead and paid $7.80. So now let's go to Saturday. So here's Saturday's results, and just looking at my picks for Saturday, there was a couple of interesting races on this card. Now we'll start out with the 10th race. Christopher Dance was shipping in. I want to show you some of the things you can do. Now this is the 10th race of the night, and Christopher Dance is coming in. Hasn't raced too much. He only raced once this year, and he's coming in from Australia. As you can see, he's a New Zealand bred. Cullifer, the trainer, Jeff Cullifer, has done well with horses like this. A few horses that he had that were coming in. So what I did is I do some research on the horse, and I found a video of this horse winning this race down here in November. This is a grade 1. See where it says here, free for all, FFA grade 1. They're still using the free for all there. We used to call our top horses free for all is here. The grade 1 are the best horses. So this was a 1.9/16 race. So it was a long race. And I watched this video. And this horse was 6th over with like a mile left to go in the race, and went 3 wide for basically a mile. I mean, just like this long 3 wide move, and won the race. I saw that video. Like I said, you just have to do a search on the horse and look around. It was on harnesslink.com, a harness racing website, but they have stuff from all over the world, for harness racing, not just United States. Harnesslink.com. And when I saw that video, I was like, well, this horse lays all over this field. I mean, this is a winners of 2, but not 4. So this was a big drop in class. I mean, this horse is he's racing against the best horses in Australia. And the qualifier was nice. As you can see, it's 151-2. So, again, this was a horse that had a class edge. And let's go down to the 10th race. Unfortunately, he didn't win. And what happened here, if you watch this race, he would have won this race easily. And he got bet really heavy, 30 cents to $1. So he had the pocket, and he tried to burst up the inside, and he locked wheels. And these 2 horses locked wheels, the 4 and the 5. He was going to win this race easily, and if he comes back in this class next week, he's going to win, really. I mean, he'll probably win by like 5-6 lanes, because they're not going to fool around anymore with pocket trips. I personally thought that Al should have went to the, he should have retake, because he was sitting behind this horse, World of Wishes, and he should have retaken the lead. I mean, he's driving a free-for-all horse here against horses that are not, in that class, and he's 30 cents to $1. So he said, it didn't make any sense. It was a bad drive. I mean, and then he locks wheels on top of it. But when it's just one of these crazy things. But yeah, that was a horse where I did a little extra research, and I like this horse class of the field. So let's go down to the 12th race, and this was an interesting race too. Now, here I have a system, and I'll show you. I'm going to open it up. I have a computer system for harness racing, right? And here, I didn't open it up yet. I'll open it up. See, that was the 9th. And we're going to go down to the last race. Okay, so here you see, this is my, now, when I ran this, there's different options on my diamond system. This one gives you 3 ratings for each horse. It's called option L. So you can see that using the last 3 ratings, I Pioneer GB is ranked 1st and 2nd. So he has 2 of the best ratings his August 1st race and his July 25th race. And I looked at the horse, and here's the race. Now, again, looking at the conditions, it's Trackmaster 68, so it's the bottom level. And the race is a 70 class, but it's a Trackmaster 68. So he was 5-2 in the morning line, but he comes in and he hasn't raced here in a while, right? But like I said, he's got, the two superior figures. Now, I just want to show you something too. This is ranked off the Diamond Final, which is lower the better. But when there's this horse shipping in, I always tell people, check my speed ratings too. RP speed on my own speed ratings using my own tables. I have my own par times and tables that I've worked on for years. And you can see that he has a 98 and a 101. So even using the speed instead of this kind of compounded rating, which is the Diamond Final Diamond ratings are a combination of things. I take pace, I take last quarter, I take final time. I kind of blend it all in. It's a formula. But sometimes with shippers, that could be a little tricky, even though I have adjustments for for tracks, because you're dealing with fractions. But so that's why I tell people, back it up. If there's a lot of shippers in the race, or you want to check to see if a shipper you think is legitimate, check it out with my speed figures, and you can see that's the two best RP speeds and our RP pace also, but they're two best speeds. But another thing too is class over the Meadowlands tracks. How has he raced over this track? Well, you can see he raced there 7 times, right? And he won 3 and finished second twice. His lifetime best is over this track, which he took this year as a 10-year-old. So earlier in the year he was here, and he went 152 and 3, which tied his lifetime best. And don't forget now, here at Lexington he went 152 and 3, but that's a much faster track. So that goes to show that he's still pretty good for a 10-year-old. And he took his fastest race of his career as a 10-year-old. So he comes in here, and I thought I looked over this, and he's coming out this real nice uncovered, second. And I thought, well, this horse is, probably got a class edge here. He's dropping to the bottom. Now I know some people might say, gee, it's only a $7,500 claimer. Well, these horses, a lot of times in this class, again, this is all about class, these Trackmaster 68s, a lot of these horses are only worth about $5,000. And this is the bottom level, at the Meadowlands. So I made him 6-5 on my line. I would have made him the best bet if I would have known he wasn't going to go off so short. When you see me make a line like this, now look at the line. I make him 6-5. Right, and this is based on what I think the horse's chance to. But notice the next one is 4-1, then there's 7-1, 8-1. So what am I trying to tell you? Right? I don't think it's that close. Right? Otherwise, I would have made Moonwood's Hanover like 5-2 or 2-1, right? Or I would have made A Pioneer 2-1 and Moonwood's Hanover 5-2. As you can see, my line, it makes it look like this isn't that close. So I said, he ships in from Tioga, good racing form, and handles this track well. And that's part of one of the reasons I use my line. So for some reason, he went off at 670 to 1, paid $15.40. Raced really well. I mean, I thought he'd probably leave, but Jack Callahan is a guy who's just come in from down under to drive for a while. He must have sensed that there was going to be enough pace here, and it worked out good for him because he got a decent cover trip, and he got up and paid $15.40. So unfortunately, I didn't have the horse to finish second. So. But again, in both of these instances, in the things that I'm showing you here, class came into play. I mean, I just thought, I just looked at this race and I thought, this horse is the best horse in the race. I mean, these horses, now there are horses in here that used to be decent horses at one time. But like this horse here, I mean, for instance, the 7 horse, you can see this year he's not the horse he used to be, right? He has 45 per wins, but this year, he's only hit the board twice. So there's a few horses in here that were decent at one time, but they're getting older, and based on this current form in this year, You know, well, like I said, he took his mark this year as a 10-year-old. So he looked like the best horse in the race. And you have some horses in here that really struggle over this track. Like the 7 horses raced here 45 times. He's never won here. You know, I look at that. You got to look at that. Some horses, they're just not going to win here. They're never going to win here. You know, they just don't forget, it's a tiring track. It's a 1-mile track. It's the Meadowlands. It's the #1 harness track, you know, in the sport. Not that easy to win here, and you know, some horses just can't do it. You know, there are some horses they only really win on the smaller tracks. There are other horses that like the big track. They don't like small track. But anyway, that's just, you know, again, both of these, you know, situations, all 3 of these horses I showed you, I just thought were the class of the field. So I'll have more harness racing videos, but you know, it's not always, you know, trips. It's not always the speed. It's not always the pace. Sometimes it just comes down to like who's the best horse. So thanks for tuning in. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. It's free, and it really helps me out a lot. And again, thanks for tuning in, and good luck.